Now, I don't know how much flexibility there is on this building here at the moment. I would point out that we're very short of time, and yet I'm sure there are people who want to ask some questions and make some comments. So, can I just play it by ear, as it were, and see if there's anybody who wants to raise any questions or make any points? Yes, there's one here, right next to me.
Just for I can speak over here. Hearing what's going on in Pakistan is truly heartbreaking, and I cannot agree with you more with the struggles that happen. I think you touched on it. It's not just Pakistan. There's many countries out there. I have a few best friends who are Pakistani. I'm an Indian myself. It's very similar in India. I recently visited Tunisia for a week, and I saw the struggles people have there. One question I wanted to ask. Okay, you pay for medication. What about education? Is that you have to pay for it, or is it state funded?
No, it's not state funded at all. People have to pay for it. The state does not provide anything for the health and education, both.
Terrible. I wish we could do more to help you.
Are there more questions or comments?
How can you stop corruption in Pakistan?
I think corruption is not the issue in Pakistan, because if you look at the economy of Pakistan, even if you double it, like people like Imran Khan say that, you know, if the corruption is controlled, there can be prosperity in Pakistan. But I don't think that it's right, because if you even double the economy, he says that we can double the economy actually of Pakistan, the worth of economy in Pakistan, by controlling the corruption. But if you look and if you go there in Pakistan and you see the state of affairs and the conditions that people are living in, doubling the economy would not mean anything to them. It has to be the wealth which has been accumulated in a few people's hands has to be distributed. We have to go for the land reforms. We have to give them the right, the peasants, the 60% workforce of Pakistan, to form unions so that they can actually file a case in the Supreme Court for the land reforms. We've already filed the case actually, and I'm one of the petitioners. But the thing is that we don't have that public pressure. So until we can put some money put some funds into propagating our ideas amongst the peasantry, which is a very difficult thing to do because the media is also capitalist, you know. They don't really run these things on the channels. So unless we do something on ground and we do put some ads on television, we go through radio, we go through social media, we'll have to form a huge punch. So once we strike with that public pressure of the peasantry especially and working class, if it also comes in solidarity with those people, I think that is when Pakistan is going to change. But not with the corruption, rhetoric of corruption.
We went to Pakistan a couple of years ago when the earthquake happened. We collected some funds from here, took the funds there ourselves. My family members and myself, we went there to help the people out. We were there for a week. We left the funds with them, who were looking after the people in the camps or whatever, the NGOs or whatever. And we, up to this day, we haven't got any feedback from them, where they spent the money. And we are answerable to people here.
Yes, I know.
And it's our honesty and our, integrity that they are going to question that where has this money gone. So there is corruption there. Unless that is eradicated, it will not solve the problems.
Yes,
Okay.
you're right.
Was this connected, Chris?
I just wanted to say that a lot of the charities, especially the bigger charities, the American ones, but also Amnesty International and Oxfam, and a lot of charities concerned with green issues are partnering up with big business, and their aims are being compromised. So it's not really surprising if money doesn't get to the people. I don't think it's a question of saying one country is corrupt. It's what's happening overall. Obviously they're doing this because they want the funds, but they're compromising their politics, and their politics is going down the road of big business.
Yes, I agree.
Yes?
Yeah, I mean, you said that you heard the union movement in Britain was very strong. I think historically it was. I'm afraid at the moment it's not as strong as it used to be because of a lot of defeats that we suffered particularly in the 80s. I think the weakening of the union movement here has led to a big growth in of inequalities within society. But at the same time, listening to your description of the situation in Pakistan, I can see that we're still a lot better off here than in Pakistan. And I think it's important that we should be looking at promoting solidarity with workers in other parts of the world, because otherwise we just get played off against each other. Because the bosses can just say, oh, well, we'll move somewhere else where the labour's cheap. So I think we've got to try and get over to workers in this country that in the long run, if they let people be played off against each other, we'll all suffer for it. But I think it does mean we've got to build leaderships that are actually presenting alternative solutions to the problems that otherwise people are persuaded, oh well, it's these workers abroad who are taking your jobs, or these immigrants who are coming here who are taking your jobs and your houses. We need to be showing that there's actually other ways to address that.
Thank you.
Are there any more points? Yes?
Personally, I think we want to bring change, but the change has to start with the youth in the colleges. We have to educate them. It's a vicious cycle. They're learning one thing, but because the parents, like you said, they're getting 30,000, so 7,000, something like that, rupees a month. So they struggle. And although the children, the youth are learning one thing, and we should be taught to be honest, to unite, to fight, stick together. But it's very difficult if they're struggling to feed mouths. So they see the opposite happening at home, you know, parents, brothers.
Yes.
So corruption happens when you've got to feed mouths.
Yes, definitely.
So there's got to be a system that somehow the salaries should be increased, doubled, and that's the government. So we've got to educate the youth to stand up for what's right, not sell their votes, not sell their, what they believe in, and fight for that and stand up for that. So really it's a messed up system. It's not just one thing, it's a lot of issues there.
Okay, I'm sorry, please continue. In fact, it's only the middle class of Pakistan who can afford to send their children to the colleges. And there is if I would say, there is a segregation, a further segregation in the middle class. I can divide middle class into 7 parts actually, 7 sections. I mean, people who are from the highest middle class, then there's a higher middle class, there's a higher middle class, then there's a middle class, then there's a lower middle class, then there's a lower middle class, and there's a lowest middle class. And all these people are middle class basically. So they have different colleges for different classes. The lowest middle class will have different college to go to. So people actually, for the next generations, they lie in the same class just because the education does not do anything for them. And because the colleges are different. Every class has a different college to go to, like I've said. Even the schools, there's a class-based education system there, which is very, very, this is the greatest, the biggest status quo that we have to break. But it's like you were actually saying that how can people actually afford if they are only making 12,000 a month, like £70 a month? How can they send their children to school? They don't send their children to schools. 50% of the children of Pakistan, they don't go to schools. Even if they go to schools, they just drop out after 1 or 2 or 3 years. So people who actually make it to the college, they are only probably, if I'm not exaggerating, I don't have the figures right now, but they're not more than 15% of the whole population. So 15. So I think they are raised pretty well, because middle class has that sense of morality and the code of ethics and all that stuff. They can actually impart that to their children. They are the only privileged class which actually can do it. But we are talking about the other people who are actually getting the minimum wage and who can't do anything regarding educating their children or having the health facilities. And about what we have to tell people for their conduct, I'll tell you this membership form. If you look at this, and this movement that we are bringing for the youth and for the workers, there is actually a code of conduct here which actually guides them in how to become better human beings. I think it pretty much covers everything, like respect to all religions, not hurt anyone's religious feelings or sensitivity, to always be honest, credible and dependable, always be courteous to all people, never use abusive or foul language, respect everyone's opinion during discussion and organization decisions, never lose temper during discussion regardless of how strongly one feels against the other's point of view, treat each other and every member of the organization with equal respect and courtesy regardless of their race, religion, gender, ethnicity, or nationality, coming on time for meetings and other organization events, never indulge in any criminal activity, openly declare membership or affiliation with other organizations. So this is all that you can do.
One other thing,
Yeah.
there's no social security system, there's no, you're saying no education. So what about the taxes? What happens to all that? Like in this country.
Taxes.
Yes, we have it, I work, we all work, and if we're sick, get sick pay, our children go to school, the education system is good here, we complain about the health system, but alhamdulillah, it's better than most countries, we're very grateful. But doesn't anyone pay taxes in Pakistan? What happens to that money? Why isn't that used for like the gentleman on the video? And other people like him who need help.
People who pay taxes, but only people who are working in the government sector, they are forced to pay taxes. Otherwise, in the private sector, nobody pays the taxes, and it's a very small economy. We have to actually look upon why people don't pay taxes. Why is there that that tendency in people not to pay taxes? I think it is because of the size of the economy. The size of the economy is such small, and then the accumulation of wealth is in such few number of people's hands that even if they pay taxes, they feel, the middle class or the small entrepreneurs or small businessmen, they feel that the social democratic tasks like building infrastructures, building roads, building dams, all those things which actually come with as a part and parcel of any capitalist country's development package, they are not able to do those tasks even then, even if they pay the taxes. So when people pay taxes, and even then they can't find cheap medicine in the stores, when they don't have good roads to, in Pakistan, in the villages don't even have roads. I think 50 or 60% of the people of Pakistan live in shambles, a very underdeveloped sort of a society. It's Pakistan's. So that's why people don't pay taxes. So Pakistan is a victim of global economy, like I've told you, global capitalism. It's not about Pakistan, it's not about India, it's not about Nepal. It's about the forces which are controlling the global economy of this world. Like I just want to add one thing. What kind of a world we are living in? It's a very illogical, very nonsensical sort of a world. I've just read a report by Oxfam. It is, I think, a UK-based charity organization, very credible. It actually has the statistical data that it spreads out in the world is supposed to be pretty authentic actually. So they say that the 100 richest people of this world can eliminate global poverty 4 times over. So what has Pakistan to do with this? We don't have that money, It's those people, even 1% of all those 100 richest people, they can buy 3 Pakistans or 4 Pakistans. They are wealthier than Pakistanis.
How much support have you got in Pakistan at the moment for your movement that you have started? Because to start something like that, I know it's quite dangerous.
Yes, like I told you, it is. This is the only thing which threatens the status quo, which threatens the existing norms of the society, which are of course bullying the weak. So of course it is quite challenging.
So have you got a network in Pakistan?
Yes, we are going about. We're trying to go about it in a very scientific way. We have formed systems, and we are actually getting a membership. Far better, far more than what we expected in the beginning. So when we started the organization, so I think it's a good speed that we are. Yeah, it's a good start. Yeah.
So I just want to take Gino, and then we'll end. But I think we should have a little bit of time, a few minutes at the end, for some just informal discussion with the speakers. But anyway, Gino, yes.
Well, I don't want to hold Britain up as an example. Because the journey to social justice is still, we still haven't got very far along the journey in Britain. But when we do look at places where trade unions have been active and effective, it's observable that those trade unions are only part of a compendium of social forum that creates the conditions where people's rights can be upheld. So when we look at Britain and we look across Northern Europe, we look at not just trade unions, but we also see cooperative movements, we see voluntary sector movements, and we see this kind of activity where people come together to debate and to learn about what it is they need to change in their society. You've talked a lot about the need for trade unions to uphold people's rights in Pakistan, but are those other communal activities also in place?
Yes. It is under this program. I mean, we actually conduct some sessions which are called ODD, ODDD. It's Open Discussion Dialogue Debate. So that's where we actually ask the students and the youth to come. They just sit together. We just give them a topic and then they discuss with each other. So this is in our program actually. International Youth of Workers program.
And the development of things like cooperative movements?
Which movement?
Cooperative.
No, we don't have any such thing happening in Pakistan right now. We are too small for that. So yes, it's not happening there. Yeah. I think it will happen only when the social basis of the whole society the bar will be raised. Not right now, because people don't even. In Pakistan, 50% of the people can't write or read.
Which was the case here until we started educating ourselves.
Yes.
So
you have to wish us luck.
Yes. I'm told that we should have been out of here by 9 o'clock, and we're obviously way past that. But
we've been told it's okay.
Is it okay?
It's
yes?
okay.
All right. Well, if there are any more points, but otherwise, as I say, I'd like to stop the meeting for maybe informal, to have some informal discussion with the speakers. If anybody has any questions or wants to discuss with them anything, is that a reasonable thing to do? I don't know.